Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all good. Yeah, I'll just show you where I am. It's quite nice in the sun. But I tell you guys, I haven't left the house in 2 days, which is not like me. And I had to drag myself out today because I was just in that weird hermit kind of like overthinking mode. Where I had to clear my mind, but I wasn't thinking outside would help me, and I've actually been feeling quite guilty about it. But yeah, this morning I thought I will drag myself out, discipline, being your own mother. So I thought I'd drag myself out. Yeah, and I feel so much better. I do feel so much better, but I also think it's so because I was beating myself up, being like, I need to leave the house, but I don't feel mentally okay to do so. That's what I just spent the 2 days just beating myself up, and I've learned that you just should stop doing that. Just go easy on yourself. Like, now I'm outside, I'm like proud of myself for getting out of the house, but I'm also there thinking, actually, even if I didn't want to leave the house, that's fine. So guys, like, if you're gonna have those hermit days, that's fine, but obviously just monitor it. Like, if it has been like 6 days, don't like just force yourself. But just don't. I'm just done with the whole make yourself feel guilty about decisions. Every decision I think you make, a lot of it is for a reason without you realizing it at the time. So trust it, but sometimes just fight it. Just be like, yeah, I'm going to go out because I know my body needs some sun because it hasn't had it for a while. Like, yeah, you get me. Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking a lot is about nature and just the connection with nature, how important it is. And like last night I was really thinking, like, how did I live life without that connection? Because right now, like, I'm at that point in my life where you start really realizing just how much nature does for you, how much it can soothe you, how much it can heal you, how much it makes you feel so much stronger when you are feeling at the weakest. And well, we live in the Matrix, let's just face that. And I was really thinking, you go to countrysides, you go to the outskirts of the city, and you don't see many black people. You do not see, you go to the villages where there's trees, where there's lakes, where there's like beautiful nature, and you don't see any black people living there. No, none. So we are like literally what you're seeing now currently, we are all in the city. We are in a city where, even on the sunniest day, you're in town and stuff, and then you're there crossing the road trying to find the sun because it's shady. You're like, oh gosh, this is a shady part. I need to cross the road to find the sun. That's like kind of the environment we've been pushed into, and it's not natural. It's not a natural environment, and we need to be in as much nature and as much naturalness as we can, because we are connected to nature. So if you're not at all in connection with it, you won't be connected with yourself. The more you connect with nature, this is what I found from my experience, the more I connected with nature helped me to connect with myself. There was a point in my life, because I hadn't been looking at nature. I'd been like stuck in routine, in schedules, in work, in meeting friends, in just stressing out about money, rent, family issues. You've got all these issues that are just like distracting you and pulling you away from the natural world, and you're like being sucked into the artificial world of money, rent. This is how it's set up. When your brain is set up with the artificial world, when all you're thinking about is rent, money, issues, all the work, all that stuff, that's artificial, it's man-made, it's all like fake. Okay. But that's the kind of world that they've tried to build around us. So they're trying to build that false reality of that world, and then you've got the real world, which is right there in front of you, which you can just touch, and it will heal you. Because really, guys, think about, when was the last time you literally touched a tree? Think about that. Because I know there was a point in my life where I hadn't touched a tree in like fucking 7 years or something ridiculous. Yeah? Is that, yeah? But when you really think of it in that kind of scale, that we can't even remember the last time we touched a tree or really looked at a tree and looked at the bark design, look at the blade of grass and really look at how, look at it. It's all so detailed. But when you really, really start realizing just how disconnected the disconnection of this world is just trying to build between us and nature, we need to start fighting that back. So we need to start pulling ourselves and putting ourselves back into the natural environment in order to find out who we are. Like, it will bring our connections back with ourselves. So I wanted to really talk about my experience and like how I came to find nature, because at the end of the day I was blind. I wasn't able, I'd be sitting in parks with friends and I wouldn't be looking at the trees. I would occasionally, but then it'll be distraction. You'd be your friend would talk about something else and you're there like, oh, okay. But like, the point I found nature, I had given up hope on everything. Like, everything. I was like being like, what is the point? Like, I've tried everything, I've searched everywhere, and I can't seem to find somewhere that's like, that gives me hope. Like, this can't be it. Like, in 30 years, am I going to be flipping working in an office, like, still dreaming of a better world? Like, am I going to be still living in this system where it's all so messed up and all it seems to create is pain? That seems to be the only agenda of the system. Like, is this it? And it was those points, and that's when I was really like suffering from anxiety, panic attacks constantly. It was like 7 times a day. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't even get onto a bus. I can't even answer the phone at work, and I had to go to work, I had to. But yeah, it was at that point, and nature started, as I was getting like more kind of depressed in the artificial world, if that makes sense. Nature started really opening its world to me. It started becoming so much more vibrant, so much more beautiful, and it was like this aura of like trust just grabbing me, and I was like, stubborn as I was just kind of like, right, I can either just stay in this depressed state, or I'm just gonna sit and just see what happens. So I started forcing myself to visit this one park every day, forcing myself when I was realizing that I didn't even want to look at people. Like, I'd lost a lot of faith in people in general, and I didn't want to be looked at. I had wanted to be invisible. I just didn't want to be a part of all this, if that makes sense. So I was just forever avoiding people, if that makes sense. And then kind of running towards the trees, where I was like, it's just simpler here. I can just be truthful and honest to myself without being judged. Like, I can express myself without being judged. Like, and that was the start of it. It took a long time to get that connection back. But I mean, the more you force yourself, the more you start getting that trust in again. Because at the end of the day, a tree won't judge you. You can express yourself and your thoughts and stuff. You can have those conversations that you weren't able to have with people that didn't understand you. You can have those conversations and not be judged for it, actually, and feel more understood and getting more answers from life, because you're not there being shut down, if that makes sense. But yeah, I was just thinking, I do remember there was a time, and this was when I was still in that point where I was like, oh yeah, I'm blind, whatever, and I was just very much into just like, yeah. But I remember just looking at this tree, and I was like, wow, it was a very, very windy day, and like storms were going, and I wasn't in the best of moods. I remember looking at this tree being like, wow, actually this tree is going to be standing rooted through all weathers, all storms, all seasons. It will snow and it will still be rooted and it will still be standing strong regardless of what is going on around it. It is still there and it is still solid. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned. I just learned, regardless of the storms around you in your life, regardless of what's going on in your life, like, you can still be standing rooted to earth. You know, if you stay grounded in your beliefs and stuff, stay grounded in who you are, and no matter what storm comes by, no matter what is going on around you, you will be fine. Like, you will still be standing. That was one lesson I kind of learned from nature. Another one, I've got to say, this is beautiful, but even just the natural cycle, like, they start growing leaves. So it's like growing leaves in the spring, and into the summer start flourishing, you know, they're blooming and bright and vibrant. And then, you know, it's autumn, but in the autumn they will start dropping off. And I really saw that as relevant to all of the things that no longer really serve you. You've got to kind of shed it all off. You've got to, you know, they could have been right at the beginning, you know, a certain stage of your life. It was probably perfect. You needed all that for that particular time. But there is a point in your life where you have to, like, shed it all off in order to grow more and grow new things that will be better for your future. So when you start growing again in the spring, that's your newness coming out, which you wouldn't have been able to grow if it had been there that whole time, if that makes sense. So that in nature also it teaches you how to even let go, just letting go of what's no longer needed. And we are so prone to just stick into what's familiar, what we know, and we're so resistant to change. But life is full of changes. No day is the same, and it shouldn't really matter the extent of the change. It shouldn't matter. It's a change. A change is a change, and majority of the time when change happens, it means that it's an opportunity for more better things to come in. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad. Like, change should not equate to bad. Change can be good. And I'm a strong believer that no matter what it seems at the time, it might seem really bad at the time, but if you really just follow it through, you can either resist the change, which will only make it harder. At the end of the day, when change needs to happen, it's gonna happen. But you can either resist it, making your life harder, or just let it happen. Let it happen. Like, you don't see trees being like, I am not letting go of this last leaf I was gonna say, but actually in December I saw this apple tree, and honestly it was just this single apple that was still there, and I was like watching it for a good, like, it only fell off in January, and I was like, wow, that tree is holding on to some baggage. Like, I remember thinking that, and at the time I was holding on to a lot of baggage, and I probably still am. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure out what I need to let go of and all that. Aren't we all? We're all on this, like, discovery stuff. But yeah, so it's just about, just don't cling on to the stuff that you don't no longer need. Like, let it go, and then a new apple can grow. A fresher apple, you know, because things do get moldy after a while. You know, you might think, oh yeah, everything's all good, you know, it's all stable, but actually it's getting moldy and it needs to change. You need to regrow shit. You need to grow bigger, fresher, and more, like, strong. Because every year a tree is bigger, and every year a tree will grow bigger fruits and better leaves and everything. So think of it in that way. But yeah, I'll stop rambling about that. But I think it's just a very good lesson just to learn from trees. Trees, like, when you watch them, you really realize that they teach you a lot. But yeah, let's take a lesson from that and let go of things that are no longer working, and let's open our hearts to new things that will open up new skills, new opportunities, and for growth and a new you. So I just really, really want you guys to be shining. You guys deserve it, and I love you all. I will see you soon. Bye.